We both started in 2019 when you could first grow, right? And really started in 2018 when you had to apply for a license. And to be producers, then to be processors. And we both have had to, in our respective journeys, move to product manufacturing in the hemp world, in the industrial hemp world. And that is not certainly something that I had in our business plan when we first started. You know, we were going to contract with farmers and we were going to process and serve the market with bulk materials. But what we learned was that we needed more of a customer facing touch point, an actual product that people could use that was made out of hemp in order to talk about the plant and why you would buy one product over another that uses hemp, because it in the end supports a Kansas or an American hemp farmer. And it's been quite the journey to go from farmer to processor to products manufacturer. And I think there aren't a lot of people with that breadth of experience in probably any industry, but for sure in the hemp industry. So what can you tell us about how you started? What led you to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. So like you mentioned, we didn't have it in the business plan for sure. We wanted to be, the farmer and the processor for bulk materials. That's
Yep.
where we kind of saw the light, and that's where we kind of, started out as. That's what our mission was to supply herd to other means and other manufacturers or what have you. But in the hemp industry, as you know, you got to pivot when you see an opportunity, and the opportunity was to get products into people's hands that is made out of hemp, so they can see and feel and understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. So it's been a journey. Not everything's been easy, So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of learning curves along the way, and I don't think anybody really has the necessary experience to do what we're doing in the hemp industry currently, because we're doing it from the ground floor, from the growing, the processing, to into the product manufacturing, into the sales as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we're hitting everything across the board, to where a lot of times the benefit of being in a bigger company or an established company, you got your own parameters that you stick to, and you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to venture out a whole lot. Well, a hamster, we got to
Venturing out.
we got to be an expert in almost everything.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And so I want to get specific on these products that you are now making from Kansas grown hemp. You are processing it
Yep.
on at the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation Prairie Band Ag processing facility up near Mayetta, Kansas.
Yep.
It's truly exciting. These are bioplastic materials, and whenever you're ready to show them to us and tell us
Yeah.
about them,
So
I just can't wait to
I
see
don't know if you can see that, but it might be backwards.
straw.
But it's a straw, and of course, it does have a paper covering. We're working on getting a hemp covering in there, and
Yeah.
our branding with these is Noki Win. So that is Potawatomi for good earth. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
And say it again. Say the name again.
Noki Win. It's
No key win.
it's Mnokiwen. So it's
Okay.
almost like the M is silent.
No
So
key win. Okay.
yep. So it looks like this when it's out of the package. It's just your standard straw. It's got the bend test material to it, so it acts just
Wow.
like a plastic straw. And the reasoning behind this is, the paper straws were a good pivot when needed, but let's be real, a lot of people don't like them because they don't
Yeah.
last the whole drink, or they get soggy or whatnot. So that was kind of our angle with this is
Yeah.
what's fix a problem that we see on the biodegradable side and make it just that much better. So that was our main goal with that, is the straws, and it's made out of the hurd. So we're able to extract the hurd out with our process and then mill it down to a certain micron to be able to make the resin to produce these straws. So
Wow.
it's
And how
it's
long do
been
they
an
last?
accomplishment for us.
For sure. Is it you would use that for a couple drinks, or you would save it and use it over multiple days, or how would you still describe it?
So it's still a single use item, is what
Okay.
we pitch it as. But we have had customers and people use them longer than that, and they hold up well. And being compostable, biodegradable, it lasts a lot longer than the paper straws, like I mentioned, but not as long as plastic. So we're talking 180 days, 200 days out in the elements and in open air, and it'll break down. And with this and how it's made, a lot of compostable items still leave microplastics. After these ones, not so much. So these are more of an element because we didn't want to produce something that it is plastic. So
yeah. So
Ag-
you leave it outside 180 days or so. It's completely compostable with no leftover microplastics.
Yep.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then are people buying these, like you can get them in a restaurant, or most of your customers in industry, or is it a consumer that wants a straw for their house?
Right now we're really facing with the restaurants and other companies of that nature, some kind of food service industries like that. But of course, we do sell to individuals that are eco-conscious in that mind and want something different than a metal or a paper straw. So right now we're only accepting orders for bulk.
Okay.
But we will, here in the next month or two, roll out our options on Amazon for more of a smaller household packaging. So something 50 to 100 straws, right in that ballpark. So
okay. Yeah. And then you are working on cutlery, and then there was one other product.
Yeah. So cutlery, that's going to come at the end of the month. We just got back from the manufacturer, and everything's looking good. So we're hoping to roll that out. I don't have an example of that right now, but I do have an example of another product that we just recently rolled out, was a hemp golf tee. So that's in the same realm as the straw, but it's got a little bit different kind of recipe to it, to where it holds up better than what you would think normally. So the wood tees, you hear a lot of the golf guys say that they don't last longer than a couple, tee offs. But the plastic ones, they last longer. So that's what we were trying to mimic the most, is get that more than just one whole use out of the golf tee. So that's been an excellent addition to what we got going on. A lot of people are surprised by that, and frankly, it's probably one of my favorite items so far. So
if a brand wanted their name on the golf tee, could they have that printed on or somehow added, or is that
so? Hopefully, we're able to do that. Not so much of word branding, but maybe a logo or something we can work with. But definitely on the packaging side of the golf tees, we could definitely cater that way as well.
Put them in the. Yeah. Well, what I want to say about the straws, and I want to speak to consumer brands like Starbucks.
Yeah.
I am not going to places in my mind like Starbucks. You're driving down the road. Yeah, that sounds great. I am doing everything I can every day to not generate plastic waste. And so it's not that I don't want a Starbucks drink or a coffee shop drink. It's that I don't want a plastic cup. I don't think that one drink I'm going to consume in a day, I'm going to have 5 drink, and I don't think that I should generate plastic trash with each one of those drinks. And so I am, like I think many consumers, making a choice every day to get coffee from home or refill my coffee or whatever I'm doing, take my water bottle every single place I go, because I am trying intentionally to not generate plastic trash. So I just want, to what we need is McDonald's or Starbucks or somebody like them to come and say, hey, can you make hemp plastic cups for us that will biodegrade in the same way? And that R&D is, it's kind of out there. It's kind of lacking. It's kind of expensive for disposables.
It is, yes.
Yeah. And it's not going to happen at scale until we have really big interest and we can contract the acres on the front end, and we know exactly what we should grind the material down to at the very first pass, because we have our end use market figured out, and all those things are coming together. But I think consumer sentiment around the topic of plastic trash, I mean, there's no way you can look at your trash can full of plastic cups and feel good about that. Nobody does.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
there's a better option out there. And I just really appreciate the innovation that you're using to drive towards it. And I think you're going to win because that's what people want. That's what we all want.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's a good story too. So
Hmm.
growing it and processing it here on the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation and keeping it, within the borders, it's a cool thing. And like my guys, the employees that we have with Prairie Band Ag, they love it too, and
Hmm.
they believe in that concept, and that's refreshing to know that employees can look at something like that and know that that's why they come to work every day, is they
Yeah.
see the difference that they're making.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can watch it go from a seed to a seedling in a beautiful Kansas hemp field. And I encourage people to try and visit a hemp field if you can, if you haven't been to one wherever you are in the country. It'll change you.
Yes.
Yeah, it will. And so, how's your crop looking this year? You guys have about ready moving towards harvest and
Yeah, we're I was just out there yesterday looking at the herd content, and
uh-huh.
we got a couple weeks yet, but it's filling in nicely. Everything's looking great. We're real happy with it this year, so
That's
definitely looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Yeah. And farmers, I know you and I just spoke yesterday. I had a farmer with about 70 acres up near Johnson County, and he wants to grow fiber. And so I sent him to you because you're contracting acres. So if there are farmers in the vicinity of Mayetta or North Kansas, and you want to grow hemp for fiber to watch it turn into straws and cutlery and other things, they should reach out to you.
Exactly. Please do.
Mhm.
Yeah. We need more farmers, and we need more people to be interested in growing it for
Mhm.
us, because we've done it ourselves so far, but we can only do so much on that end. So
Uh-huh.
we need the farmers and people, to be incentivized in that as well. So it's not, you know most of our contract people, farmers, they make more, if not the same, as corn and soybeans. So it's not
Mhm.
a big, change in that regard. It is grown a different crop that they may have not grown before, but
Yeah.
but that's the beautiful thing, is to have that little bit of, dedication and know-how, and being able to pivot and try something new. That's
Try something new. It's a
try
great time for that.
Yes, yes.
It is. And I think Kansas farmers are really in a unique position. I know we are because there's no other state with 3 processors in it. So Kansas farmers have options if they do want to grow hemp. There's South Bend Industrial Hemp in
Yep,
Great Bend. They also focused on fiber production.
yep,
You're up near the Topeka area. So we're really nicely
yep,
spread out around the state too. I'm in Augusta, Kansas, and our focus is on grain, so a little bit different. But that is truly an opportunity for farmers because you can
yes,
shop around and see who's closest to you. What specs are you trying to meet to contract with their processing facility? And you
yep,
have options there. So if Kansas farmers are listening, I hope they just take that to heart. And also, like you said, you can learn something new, but at this point, we're 7 seasons in. So we know a lot more today than we did 7 seasons ago. And we have taken all the lumps. So it's getting easier every year. We're getting a little bit more successful. We're smoothing things out for farmers along the way because that's just what happens over time. And of course, we're
yep,
missing 80 years of production, so we have still more ground to make up. But a
yep,
lot of those barriers as far as production, what tools do you use, what seeds, how do you grow it? We can help. Your processor can help with all of that. So farmers should
yep.
connect and at least just get familiar and try to come to a field day. Right now is a great time to check out a hemp field in Kansas. I guarantee you can find one. And
I'm sure you can find one now. Yeah.
yeah, figure out and come by and see it. I know the farmer in Garden City, Missouri, that we work a lot with, even has QR codes. You can go to his field and do a self-guided tour anytime. So that
That's cool.
there's if you're interested in seeing a hemp field, this is a great time of year to do that and to talk with the processor about what you might be able to grow next year.
Yes,
That's
yes.
super exciting. And I've been to your processing facility, so I know you guys have some really nice equipment there where you're taking hemp bales, you're breaking them down with a true decorticator, you're even producing long strand fiber and then able to mill it down to these different micron levels that help in bioplastics are useful in there. Do you want to say anything else about other markets or other buyers that you're looking for? Anything that is more on the market side?
Of course, our bread and butter is milling it down for the bioplastics. But of course, we still have a compression bagger to where we like to sell to horse people, for
Mm-hmm.
horse bedding and animal bedding for caged animals, anything of that regard. And of course, hempcrete. Hempcrete's on awesome angle for us as well. We have a few that they're south of us down in Texas and Oklahoma that are very interested in the hempcrete, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an avenue that I believe in, and I think it's a real cool and beautiful thing to be able to build with the hempcrete. But of course, just like Midwest Hemp choosing the seed angle, we're doubling down on the bioplastic angle as well. But we do offer raw herd material for those options as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we just recently worked with Texas A&M. They bought some for some of our milled herd for a trial study to see what adding that into hempcrete will do. So
Nice.
that's a beautiful thing to see happen and
Mm-hmm.
see people engage in too, and understand that there is a lot more growth in this industry than than they may think. So
Yeah, so much R&D. I mean,
so
every
much
day
already.
the phone rings with somebody with a new idea, what they're going to do with hemp, and it takes a long time and
Yes.
dollars, to figure out how it works, where it's going to fit best. How does it compete as a material, but then and its performance capability, but also how does it compete on cost?
Yes.
What marketing appeal is brought to the table with it being a hemp product, which I think is generally pretty strong. But it's just a lot of figuring out. And just like we said, our, we had a business plan. I'm sure you had a business plan, but it doesn't really look anything today like what we started with 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago on the processing, because we're finding our way and we're trying to do as many things as we can without going crazy. But our whole goal is to narrow in on obviously the most efficient and effective way to grow and process and sell the plant.
Yep.
And I think we know which way we're going. And I think you've narrowed in on a great path. But we stay open to the possibilities just because we've seen so much unfold that we didn't really know about. And I was talking to David down at Canavision the other day in
Yep.
Texas. Yeah, he was telling me that he has a cosmetics company looking at the fiber as a blush. I mean,
Interesting.
yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That. Yeah. I mean, that's news to me. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool. He said that, super small particle sizes and
Yeah.
getting it down to those micron levels where it can be in bioplastics and resins,
Yep.
compostables. It's super exciting. And I think there's so much out of our control as far as the timing and the weather and politics and policy and things that we are constantly pivoting with because that's how you have to stay alive.
Yep.
And you just have to think that the good Lord above is somehow lining that all up to work out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Farming and agriculture is not an easy industry, and then you
No.
add the hemp element on top of it, and there's only a select few people that are willing to grab a hold of that and double down on it. And those
Yep.
people, like yourself, it's been a whirlwind of learning curves and you know needing to adjust when you see fit. So in agriculture, you're exposed to the elements, you're exposed to the weather, you're exposed to, and a lot of things can change from one day to the next. And to be able to pivot and be able to see that and sometimes take the lumps and still come out on the other side
Yep.
is great to see. So
Yep. A little leaner and meaner for it, but we come out on the other side. How we changed to USDA for growers licenses in Kansas, did that affect you or do you still have a Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation licensure process that you go through for growing on the reservation?
so we still have our licensing processing or process through the nation. Now
Okay.
that hasn't changed since the new change on the USDA, but our plan has been accepted by the USDA. So
Right.
So it's
Right.
similar. There's a couple of different changes than than on the state side than compared to what we can do. And one of the big ones is if we grow a select strain for 3 years and it tests those 3 years within the regulations, then the following years we don't have to test for that anymore. So that
Performance-based sampling. Yes, that is great. I hope the whole USDA can get to that.
it's about the intent of the grow rather than anything.
Right.
What we intend to use the crop for is industrial purposes. So
yeah,
the THC, in my opinion, is testing for it is kind of arbitrary. You don't.
it's just a song and dance over here.
I like that term. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something we have to go through. But I tell prospective farmers there's a long list of things that I do worry about, but going hot is not on the list. It just doesn't happen in an outdoor field full of male and female plants that are generating seed. So I don't worry about it, but we do still have to test for it. And so that's a new process for us this year to work with the private licensed sampling agents and submit those samples. So just one more little thing to figure out, but I have generally found the USDA licensure process to be super helpful, and the people there are very easy to work with. And so I think it's a good change. Of course, not paying $1,500 for our licenses to the state of Kansas is certainly a good thing. And now under USDA, it's a $0 license and it lasts 3 years. So now, if a farmer contracts with you and their property is just out in the state of Kansas somewhere, they still get a USDA license, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
That's how they would work with you.
Yeah. If they're on the state side of things, they still need the license, and we'll help them with the paperwork and the know-how and things of that nature. We won't leave them out to dry to figure it out for themselves. We're here to help. So
yeah. There's a little bit to it, but it's just farmers have a lot of paperwork on things. And so they really, I wish they didn't, but it's just another thing. It's not anything too crazy to figure out, but it does take a little time. And if you can work with somebody that's already done it, it'll probably shave off
exactly
30-40% of the effort. So that's always good to help them out along those lines. Are you guys doing anything on the grain side? I know we kind of talked about it at the start of this year, and
we've thrown it out there a couple times, and that is something that we're looking at and we have on the back burner, but it's just not something that we've really kind of delved into. So we know it's out there, and I'm a real component for using the grain for animal feed. I think that would be a excellent thing, and I know there's the state laws and the federal laws, pertaining to that is kind of hindering that growth and that the hemp industry. But I think that as soon as we see some movement on that end for livestock, I think that's when we'll probably double down and start doing it. But until then, we're going to stick to the fiber growth and things of that nature for a processor. But of course,
I certainly commend the dedication that it's taken to get good at growing.
Yep.
Bring all the processing equipment in. I mean, even just researching that took months to do. And then I was looking back at some videos, like we did a lot of that during COVID, ordering equipment and bringing it in.
Yep.
And there was delays in deliveries and overseas shipments. And then that took a while.
Parts was a struggle. So
yeah. And then we've gone through as processors in the state. First, we're licensed by KDA. Now we're licensed by the Kansas Fire Marshal. So it's certainly an unsettled space, and it requires that you be a little bit uncomfortable. And like you said earlier, if you're joining a corporate America where you come in, you do your role, and it doesn't change or require a lot of flexibility, that's your lane, then hemp might not be for you. But if you enjoy the challenge of the unknown and you can kind of stomach it, and
Yep.
not get too frustrated or down or overjoyed when something goes right. Just believe long term that this is going to work out and stay the course. I think I really have such excitement for Kansas. And I guess we could even wrap it up in the whole bigger discussion of medical cannabis. We don't have any medical cannabis legal in Kansas today. And so I think it kind of forced our state. When you look at the difference, like Oklahoma could be growing a lot of hemp. They're really not, because there's so much medical cannabis that it just monopolized the conversation there. In
Yes.
Kansas, we don't have that, which I think that we should certainly have access to medical cannabis. But because we don't, it has forced our focus on hemp to really focus on grain and fiber.
Yes.
And that is something I'm super grateful for. We're well situated to meet the potential there. And that's because we have smart, dedicated, experienced farmers with equipment that can be used in hemp fields. We
Yep.
understand grain networks. We do have a lot of innovation on bioplastics and industry and technology and biotech. We can do this. And if you're a farmer, I think now is a great time to come learn, get involved. And if you're in industry and you're wondering how you can put hemp in your piece of anything, call Zach or call me, and we will help you figure it out. We'll send you samples. We will tell you what we know about testing that's happened so far.
Yep.
And I think because of you and we see there's so much blue sky out there, just like you said before we went live, we're pretty much open books. I mean, you and I are technically competitors, and we're on a podcast telling each other what having a check-in. And
exactly,
because there's plenty of room for growth. And we need, I think, a lot more of what you're doing with the bioplastics. We've gotten good at growing. We're good at processing. We need the product material innovations.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And it's going to come. Things like this, having conversations like this with, me and you, it helps get that out there as well. It does no good, not talking about it. So the more people talk about it and understand that there's this option out there that somebody may not have heard of yet, it only helps by talking about it. Basically.
Yeah. And the simple education of there's so much more than CBD and cannabinoids in hemp. This is a supply chain material that can be in food and everyday materials, paper towels, cloth, textiles, that you don't even know it's there. It's just a sustainably grown product that came from the United States. It was good for the soil and the water that it grew in, and it was good for the farmers that grew it. And it's didn't require anybody to remove oil out of the ground to produce it. So all pluses.
Yes. And with our regenerative ag approach, with how we grow the hemp too, we actually reduce a application of herbicide as well. So it may not sound like a big thing, but on a farmer's perspective, that's a huge thing. To be able to do that from a year to year, it's huge. Using cover crops and not having to terminate it that way, it's awesome. So knowing that, and we're not organic by any means, but we're definitely making the right strides to reduce the inputs and letting the crop basically show for itself. And so far, it's like you've seen, hemp's a hardy plant, and it's going to grow, and it grows well in Kansas. That's for sure. It grows well in Kansas.
So, are you doing any dry irrigated ground, or is it all dry land, or do you have a combination?
Everything we do is dry land. So
same with us. I mean, I'd like to have some irrigated acres, but at this point in the process, it's not something anybody's really willing to dedicate a pivot to. So that's another good thing. It's forced us into working with varieties that grow on dry land.
Yes.
That's just another environmental benefit.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the carbon capture that comes out of, especially a fiber field. I mean, you're capturing carbon both in the biomass and then also in the roots. And then have you seen anything, we'll wrap up, but on the regenerative side, going in after hemp that you recommend? What crop are you following soybeans and then coming behind?
So we follow hemp we follow soybeans and then hemp. Soybeans, hemp, and then corn rotation is what we do. So we have seen a slight uptick in yield with our corn after the hemp, and we got the agronomist out there here this year coming up, and he's going to take the soil samples, and we're definitely going to try to identify the cause of that, and
That's
more or
awesome.
less have that proof. So
Yep. Well, thank you, Zach. You have done much to move the agricultural hemp industry forward. I remember us back in the stakeholder meetings, driving to Salina, I think we met in, and several other small towns. And you've been a real friend, and I just appreciate the continued optimism and perseverance, persistence. All those things are required, and you must have them in spades because you're still leading the charge over there and making positive progress.
I appreciate all that, and likewise, you've been a friend to me, and I love to, like you said, we're technically competitors, but in this industry, I see us as friends and secondary competitors, because it really takes the kind of alliance in this industry to overcome a lot of it. So I've learned a lot from you, and especially with I believe you were one of the first to do carbon credits with hemp too. So I mean, hats off to you. That's an awesome accomplishment. So
did you guys get signed up this year with them?
Not yet. We're looking into it. It
okay.
It's a little hairy when we're within the borders of the reservation.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I think, I mean, the fiber just has so much more potential than the grain side on the carbon capture because the biomass is so much different or better. Yeah. There's so much to learn, and I think hopefully people can tune in. They can ask questions. They can reach out to us directly. I'll put your contact information in the chat once this posts up, and add a little opener to it and try to share the word. And I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. But anything you want to part with?
We do love showing off our facilities. So if you want to reach out to me or Sarah, she can connect us. Reach out if you want a tour. We love giving tours and showing off what we do. So.
Yep. Shop hemp, people. Farm hemp, grow hemp. But if you're not a farmer, there's so many ways that you can support hemp farmers by using hemp products.
Yep.
All right, Zach. Hope you have a good day. I appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch. Let's grow some more hemp.
Appreciate it, Sarah.
All right. Bye.